back around 93, 95, somewhere in that range, Nas put out a freestyle, which I guess a lot of people said came out on the Illmatic demo tape, but also like right before it was written. But that track was Life is Like a Dice Game. And for the longest time, people really wanted the original to come out. And I don't blame them, because that beat was so good. And also just, I mean, Nas is Nas. But, what is it, 20-something years later? We finally got a studio version of it. But this time, Nas isn't alone. He brings in Cordae and Freddie Gibbs for Life is Like a Dice Game. Seeing as it's a track that a lot of people wanted to see back in the day, and bringing in two pretty dope artists, it's only right that we go bar for bar and break down these lyrics. If you are new here, these breakdowns are basically where I go through the lyrics and give my interpretation of what they mean, or what they could mean. As always, I don't know everything, so if I missed anything or misinterpreted something, please feel free to let me know in the comments below, just to basically educate everyone, because that's what this is for. It's just for the fun too. Anyways, we start off with a chorus, which I actually really do like that the choruses kind of have both, like two of the artists. So this chorus has Nas and Cordae.
Wake up every morning thinking what we gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way to maintain is the price of fame.
I mean, chorus is pretty straightforward. Nas wakes up every morning like, what we gonna do today? Kind of like the SpongeBob episode where Patrick's like, I don't know, what do you want to do today? Like, I don't know what to do. And there's got to be a better way to maintain the price. To maintain is the price of fame. So basically, he's just trying to maintain. And he's just trying to find a better way to do that. And then life is like a dice game. You never know what you're going to roll. This then goes into Cordae's verse.
Life's a gamble, although the stakes are heightened, I can handle any darkness that tries to penetrate. My light is ample, set the right example. My doctrines are divine. I live life on this earth to complete what's assigned.
Life is a gamble, playing into the dice game. Though the stakes are high or heightened, he can handle it. So the stakes in life are higher than in a dice game. I mean, you can live or die. In dice, I mean, you'll at most lose money. Well, depending on who you gamble with, I guess. But he's like, I can handle this. And he can handle any sort of darkness that tries to penetrate his light, because his light is ample. He goes on to say, his dark dreams are divine, and he lives life on this earth to complete what's assigned. I don't know what exactly his dark dreams are, but he's saying that these dark dreams are divine because, I mean, why else would he have them if they aren't divine? Like, a lot of people think that if you, like, whatever's happening and whatever you're thinking is because of some divine power telling you to do so or making you think these things. So, like, why would you think of these dark things if they're not divine? And he's living life on this earth to complete what's assigned to him. So he has some sort of goal that has been put upon him, and he's going to complete that.
My mission given, I was birthed the same year as it was written. I've been fasting intermittent to strengthen my intuition, but fuck, and sometimes shit you'll run out of luck. But how my dice roll from dominoes to maestros.
His mission was given to him, and he was born the same year as it was written. So that's kind of where he's getting his mission from. And then he's like, I was fast and to intermittent to strengthen his intuition. So kind of like intermittent fasting. Like, that's kind of where I think he's going with it. Like, intermittent fasting being where you only eat for a certain amount of hours in a day. And to do that, he's strengthening his intuition. So some people do it to lose weight. Some people do it to increase their focus. So it sounds like he's doing that to more focus himself. But sometimes you run out of luck. Like, and then he's like, how would my dice go from dominoes to maestros? Like, it's a trip how it went from one thing to another. And then he carries that on to
completing life goals. My price rose as soon as I decided to never ever be misguided. I know niggas that's indicted from the shit they confided with their best friends until they seen that paperwork writing.
So he carries on the from dominoes to maestros to completing his life goals. So it's like he went from like the bottom basically to doing things that he wanted to achieve in life. And then he just kind of goes on to he's like, I know people who were indicted for the things that they thought they could confide in people, but those best friends just kind of gave in when they saw the paper. But also, it could be a little bit how some rappers just kind of say things that they did. Some things you probably shouldn't mention in your lyrics until a certain point.
Life's a bitch. This connection is the price of bliss. Though elation often leads to paths of righteousness, I confess. A nigga woke up feeling blessed, no stress, with the freedom to express, but shit was never.
Life's a bitch. You know, the Nas song. He had to throw another shout out there. But disconnection is the price of bliss. So to have bliss in your life, you have to kind of disconnect from life sometimes. But even though you have bliss, like that elation can leave the path of righteousness. So kind of going into the whole thing where he's like, he's doing these things from, like, because it's divine, like, because some higher power told him to. Like, he has to complete this mission, essentially. This then goes into the chorus with Freddie Gibbs this time, but it's exactly the same. Then we get a little bit of an interlude from Freddie Gibbs where he doesn't say very much other than what he'd rather spend his money on because he doesn't gamble. And then we get into his verse.
Started out 150 dime bags in mama house, making 500 a week, thinking about dropping out. Sold dope in front of my brother, but he a doctor now. Fuck this weed shit, Greg showed me just what that rock about.
When he started out, there was 150 dime bags in his mama's house. So dime bags, like, you know, the little baggies, and he was making about 500 a week, and that's a decent amount of money. Like, that's not bad. Like, and he's probably like, yo, you know, shoot, I might just drop out. Like, it's not really, like, it's a good move for him at that time. At least that's what he was thinking. And he was selling this stuff in front of his brother, but his brother is a doctor now. So presumably his brother stayed in school instead of helping Gibbs or Freddie Gibbs. They're both Gibbs. And he started out with weed and then moved on to the rocks. And, you know, there's a big price jump, I'd say, between the two. So, you know, and then he goes on.
Whip game, I got a thing for cooking crack, man. Fucking off a dub on them scribblers, I make it back, man. Fans with the IRS on me, they said the tax, man. Streets cold, ain't nothing cut though like the rap game.
So the whip game, you know, he's whipping up, and he's got a thing for cooking crack. Like, he's just good at it. But then the feds sent the IRS on him. They sent a tax man on him. So he's like, damn, gotta figure that out. You know, streets code. Ain't nothing cutthroat like the rap game. The street code's a little bit different than the rap game. Like, things that could fly in the streets or fly in rap won't necessarily go good in the streets.
The rap game, do you wanna be in it, wanna be sent it? Fuck niggas facade, wanna be winning. I said fuck being famous from the beginning. Big rabbit, Instagram wanna ban me for posting pictures.
So do you want to be in the rap game? Do you want to be sinning? Because, you know, like he mentioned, there are some things that happen in the rap game that won't fly in the streets. So he's like, do you really want to be doing that? And then he's like, these dudes with these facades are the ones that are winning or want to be winning. And, you know, and then he goes on to mention, like, from the beginning, I was like, nah, I'm not trying to be famous. And then he goes on to mention how Instagram keeps banning him from posting pictures. I think literally just this morning he got in trouble again for saying something about Wale. This then goes into the chorus, which is a little bit different this time.
I wake up in the morning thinking what I'm gonna do today. It's gotta be a better way. They keep changing the price of cane. Life is like a dice game. I wake up, hit the call, I think of getting something new today.
So it starts off the same. He wakes up every morning. He's like, what should I do today? And there's got to be a better way. But instead of maintaining, he's trying to figure out a way to change the price of cane. Like, he's trying to raise the rates, basically. Goes on to say, like, yo, I think I'm going to just get something new today. And then he mentions in the next line, paint the Aston Martin blue today. These dudes tripping, so I ride with that thing. Life is like a dice game. I think he has a blue Aston Martin already, so I don't know. Maybe he got it painted. But he's like, man, I think I'm going to just go paint my Aston Martin blue. Why not? And then these dudes are tripping so he rides with the thing. Like, he keeps it on him. He stays ready. And then the rest of the course is the same. And then we get into Nas's verse, which is mostly the same as the original.
I never knock a brother. I'm anti-jail for real. Smooth criminal skill. Locked in a human flesh shell. Watching niggas get rich beside me. Pushing the fly VY me. Up in the passenger seat.
So he's never gonna... He lives by street code, basically. He's never gonna say something to get someone put in jail. Like, he's not gonna knock a brother. And he is a smooth criminal. Like, and he has that skill. And basically, like, his skill is locked in this flesh shield that he has, like his skin. Like, this again was back in the day, so he's seeing dudes get rich beside him, pushing a 5 series, I'm assuming, and he's just in the passenger seat. So he's seeing all these things happening, and he's like trying to get his money up too. Like, he's trying to be like them.
But I see me as Haile Selassie in my kingdom. Sipping Asti Spumante, drifting, reality kicks in. I need the paper start clicking. Gotta connect out in Richmond. Every nigga in the fam a picture.
He sees himself as Haile Selassie in his kingdom. Haile Selassie was basically thought to be a descendant of Jesus, I believe it was. He was also the king of Ethiopia up until the 70s, I believe, and was thought to be Jah from like the Rastafarian belief. So basically he's seeing himself as God's son, which is just a very long-winded way to say that, I guess. But it was dope. Reality starts to kick in, and he's like, yo, I need the papers to start coming in. And he's got to connect in Richmond, so he's going to be like, all right, well, let's see what we can get going. And to do that, every dude in the fam is going to pitch in. Like, everyone's going to work together.
It's on, word is born, that's my name, Big Nas. All wise and civilized from the northern hemisphere of the earth. Peace to my son and thanks to the birth.
Word is bond, I believe, is a term that the 5%ers tend to use. I don't know much more beyond that, though. And then he was like, yeah, my name is Nas. And he's from the northern hemisphere. Like, he's from America. He's from New York, so.
Destiny, that's her name. It's going on. You know my name. Big Nas in the house, y'all. On the freestyle tip. When I finish the shit, it's sure to be a hit.
You know, it's a freestyle, so he's just kind of continuing on. And this is very early in his career, so it's not like we're going to get crazy bars. But, you know, he's just... In most freestyles in the 90s, you got to mention your name, you got to say where you're from, that sort of thing.
This original recording hit the street by 93, was just a leak. The verse was incomplete, reconstructed the beat so we could fuck up the street. Back to the future, patch up the bloopers.
So, at this point, we get a beat switch, and this is where Hit Boy just kind of does his thing, because Hit Boy went and reconstructed the beat as well, but at this point, it's just switches, and this is new Nas lyrics, instead of just him re-recording his old lyrics. So that's what he's saying. Like, this original recording hit the street around 93, somewhere in that range. I don't think Nas even remembered exactly when it was, because I was reading an article and it was like, I couldn't tell you where it was or when it was exactly. I just know it was around that time. But it was just a leak, and the verse was incomplete because it was a freestyle. Like, it wasn't a full, I mean, it was, I would consider it a full verse, but it wasn't like, I guess, to his normal verse length, at least as of now.
Match up the cadence with the back in the day shit. A blast of nasty nouns with Savia, don't act surprised. This ain't for advertising, showing off, I blast with mine. Life is a dice roll, there's money on the ground. What's gonna happen is gonna happen, it's a gamble all around.
So he's trying to match up the cadence with his old sound. So, I mean, because every artist kind of changes over their career, whether it be in terms of how they rap or what they rap about, but also just their voice. Like, Nas doesn't sound the same as he did back in the day. So he's trying to match that sort of cadence, at least. And this isn't for advertising or showing off. He's just doing it for himself. And then he kind of ties it back into the whole dice game thing. Then we get back into the chorus, which is, you know, the same as originally. And that's it. This song, I liked it. So, personally, I like the original beat a little bit better. But I do understand that it wasn't very easy to reconstruct it identically. So it's pretty close. Everyone here did a pretty good job, I say. I wonder how he chose to bring in Cordae and Freddie Gibbs, though. Like, did he want to do someone that's like in between him or like Nas and Cordae, because I'm assuming he wanted to do someone with the new school, because Nas, he's well known to do that. Like, he's not one of those people that are like, nah, I'm not going to work with any of the younger guys. Like, he's going to do that. So maybe he already had Cordae in mind and just wanted to bring in Freddie Gibbs. But regardless, the song came out really well. I'm glad we got an official version of this verse, because I mean, all we had for the longest time were just those like YouTube rips. So that was cool. It's almost like, well, I was gonna say it's almost like this song was meant for King's Disease. Like, they could have just thrown it on as a bonus track, but in reality, it was more just like Spotify actually hit them up and they're like, or hit Nas up, and they're like, hey, we want you to redo this song. At least that's kind of what I read. I'm definitely paraphrasing. But yeah, no, it was good. It was a good, I guess, update to the song. I enjoyed it. But yeah, I enjoyed the song. Yeah, that's all I'm going to say, though. Let me know in the comments below if I missed anything or misinterpreted anything with these lyrics, because as I mentioned, it's totally possible. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more breakdowns and content like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.